First one, Amazon. We're in 1994, and Jeff is just chilling with his homies from the Wall Street, and he was like, "Yo, internet is crazy, man." And they were like, "Yeah." So he just said, "See ya," and quit his job. But it was like, "Yo, I've got no friends, I've got no job. What should I sell?" But he had books, so he sold books. He wanted to name his new company Cadabra, but someone told him that it sounded too much like a cadaver. So he was like, "Yeah, let's not do that." So he was like, Amazon.com. So he said, "Bye, Mom." And he went to his garage with all his books. And he was like, "I'm here in my garage with knowledge." That's a Ty Lopez reference. But then he went back to his mom and was like, "Hey, I need money." And they were like, "Oh, yeah, we don't have much, but yeah, here's $250,000. And then his dad was like, "Hey, by the way, what's internet?" But today Jeff is like, "Yo, we're worth $1.7 trillion. Second one, Microsoft." And by the way, that's the name my girlfriend used to call my penis. But for Microsoft, it's the story of Paul and Bill, and they were like, "Yeah, Microsoft." And so they did it in a small garage, and they did complicated stuff that I don't understand with IBM. And yeah, they did an operating system for only $80,000, and now they're worth $1.6 trillion. Trillion with a T. Yeah. Could you imagine that guy from his garage would today be able to predict pandemics? Life is crazy, man. And the third one on the list, Apple. We're in 1976, and Steve, they were both named Steve. Yeah. So they were like, "Hey, let's build a computer, but without a monitor, a keyboard, or casing." Is that great? Yeah, it's great. And don't ask me why, but it was great. People liked it. And 4 years later, they were already making 117 million in 1 year. Like the company, not them, but the company. But then, the one of the Steves, the one that we don't know about today, he was like, "Hey, no, I'm quitting." So he quit. So the other Steve was like, "Whoa, who should I hire for the, you know, uh, a computer business?" And he was like, the Pepsi CEO. And the Pepsi CEO was like, Steve is uncool for the company. So he just went, "Bye bye, Steve." And Steve went, "Okay, bye bye." And Steve left. But then he came back. But you know what's funny? The whole garage thing is a myth, a pure creation of Jobs' mind. One of the Steve, the Steve that everybody knows, not the other one. Apple is now worth $2 trillion, trillion with a T. And the fourth one, Google, we're in 95, and there's this guy named Larry and this guy named Sergey, and they were like, "Yeah, let's work and make a cool thing." So they were in their dorm rooms, and they did cool things, but like not in a sus way, but they did cool things. Basically, the ancestor of Google, and it was named Backrub, which is kind of cringe. But then they renamed it Google, and then they got money from a guy named Andy. So they were like, "Hey, we should move from our dorms, you know? We just got 100K. So would be cool, like a big place and all." "Oh, you mean like a garage?" Yeah, well, yeah, that would work too. So they did exactly that, and they rented a garage from a girl named Susan, and she would soon be their employee. That's kind of crazy. And now they're worth more than $1 trillion with a T. By the way, if you've watched the video to this point, that means you kind of like it, it would mean a lot to us if you just like and subscribe. And yeah, that's all. It just helps us with all the things that YouTube wants. Anyway, just like and subscribe, please. And the fifth one on the list, Harley Davidson. They did bikes in a garage. And the sixth one, HP, the computer company. It's 1938. A guy named Bill and a guy named Dave were like, hey, we should make a run for it in business, you know? And they did. So they just rented a place, a house, and yeah, they lived there together, which is kind of sus. But anyways, so they created the company in 1929, and exactly 50 years later, the garage was dedicated as the birthplace of Silicon Valley. So that's kind of cool. HP is now worth more than $120 billion with a B. And the seventh one on the list is Mattel. I really don't know if I said it right. But yeah, at first they were like, yeah, let's do a picture frame business, you know? And it was 1945. But then they were like, yeah, let's do toys. In 55, they were like, yeah, let's sponsor Disney's The Mickey Mouse Club. And yeah, it worked. So they were like, yeah, now we have money. And with these $1 million, they decided to invent the Barbie doll. But then they were like, yeah, let's do like little cars. Little cars. So they did, and they called it Hot Wheels. And now Mattel is worth $8.5 billion. 8-1. It's Dell. At first, Michael was like, hey, I'm in my dorm room. And after that, it was like, hey, I'm in a garage. And after that, he was like, yo, in 1 year I made $73 million, and it's my first year? What the heck? And then Dell went public, and then he was like, yo, I'm rich, and then it became really, really big. Yeah, it's now worth $100 billion. Ninth one, Disney. Yeah, so basically he paid $1 every month to rent his uncle's garage. And yeah, that's it. He made things with puppets, and he make parks, and it's great. There's rats, I mean mice around these guys, but it's humans. It was great, but on the internet there's like nothing on the garage story. So yep. But what we do know is that it's now worth $130 billion. And the last one, it's Nike. So basically, there was this guy named Phil, and he had a coach. Yeah, so he did an MBA, education, school. And then for a project, he had to create a company. But like, the company wouldn't exist. It's just a fictional project for school. So basically, Nike was a project for school. Yeah, but they used the car of the coach to sell the shoes. And then they were like, "Yo, we need a logo." And then they said, "Hey, Caroline, yeah, we need a logo." So she was like, "Swoosh," and she did a logo. And then they were like, "Yeah, here's your paycheck." And they paid her $35 for the swoosh. And yeah, now they're worth $35 billion. The end. Yeah, I mean the end of the video, not Nike.